plan de Adam en la emergencia que dio de los días y solamente un cambio de 2 o 3 días y ahora está peor.
I'm going to translate the question because it's a good one. Basically, he's saying that the operation was limited in success of the operation restored, and I'm going to answer as follows. La policía arrestó en este año más de 500 personas por actos de prostitución aquí en la Rube y en esta zona. La policía ha hecho su trabajo, pero aún no es suficiente. La segunda parte es que tenemos leyes que protegen la delincuencia y no aseguran que las personas que son los carteles y las pandillas que están corriendo todo este negocio ilegal sean llevados a la justicia. Y por ende estamos hoy rectificando el tema, que todas nuestras políticas aquí en nuestra zona están apoyando la legalización de la prostitución, lo cual esta comunidad está rotundamente en contra, y vamos a luchar desde hoy para desmascarar todos los políticos que quieren dañar nuestra comunidad. And what I said to him was basically, NYPD did over 500 arrests, summonses, padlocks. They did their part. It's still not enough, and that's why we really need the feds to come in with federal sanctions, authority, and law to finally bring this. Thank you very much, everyone. Shut it down! Shut it down!
Last question.
Yep.
If Kash Patel is not going to do anything about this, do you welcome a similar situation to what's happening in D.C. right now, in New York?
Well, I think that the issues with D.C. and New York City are not the same, right? What was happening in D.C. was clearly a very big problem for a long time, and dysfunctional local government. Yes. We have some of that here, but there's still enough of us here that have some common sense to kind of bring them to the center a little more. I fear that that might not be the case if we elect a guy like Mandami, and I'm not here to make a political speech or to endorse anyone, but I will say I can't support someone who wants to defund the police, wants to legalize prostitution, and wants to do everything in the book to weaken the very things that we need to keep us safe. So he's a no-go from jump, and the people are going to know that. We're going to do our part to make sure that everyone in this community understands who he really is, and that this policy really shows what he is all about. Next week we're going to be at another brothel, and another one after that, and another 10 more after that. We're going to do this every week to continually bring attention to the issue so that New Yorkers can understand what legalizing prostitution can do to a community. It can destroy a community. We're not going to tolerate it, and we're going to fight it. We're going to take this issue to the mat. We're going to open up to any questions from the 2 members of the press that are here. Any questions from the Post?
Yeah, I mean, talking about legalization, prostitution, do you fear that, keeping things illegal the way it is just going to continue pushing this further underground into, places like this?
Well, clearly this place is not underground. In fact, we have video and photos that we have already shared with the press today of how these sex workers come right here to this street and solicit men to bring them in. Teenagers, adolescent men. The people who live in this building have sent me videos about what's happening here 24 hours a day. They're inside right now hiding because we're here. When we leave a couple of hours later, you'll see them. They have a chair here and they set up a little umbrella. They had this at the Bodega Brothel on 99th Street and other locations. This is not an issue that's only germane to this corner. It's all over the Roosevelt Avenue community. It's dozens of places, and we need the federal intervention because these are transnational organized crime elements from Mexico, from Venezuela, you name it. The final issue that I want to raise is that we saw how the government here cracked down heavy on the Venezuelan and the Mexican street gangs. But the Chinese and Asian gangs are operating this place right here. Our information is that it's the Triad gang that's running this place as well as others. This is organized crime and racketeering. The feds can put people away for a long time for racketeering. We need that kind of enforcement because in the state of New York, we don't have those laws or those apparatus, thanks, unfortunately, to our elected officials. Victor, pregunta? You got a follow-up?
Sex workers some of them might not be here, against their will.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you protect these vulnerable women who are coming in, might not speak English,
Great
and are
question.
forced to be here?
So, what we have to do is arrest them, bring them in, debrief them. If after that debriefing it is determined that they are in fact being held against their will and are victims, then we need to get them shelter, counseling, protective services, and support. We're here to support these women. What the politicians that support legalizing prostitution don't understand is that that legislation will hurt the women, will re-victimize more women, and it will make it more difficult for law enforcement to go after the bad actors. That's why we're here. This is not just an issue of moral values. It's common sense governing and law enforcement. We have to make sure that it's maintained illegal and that proper measures are taken by law enforcement to clean it up so neighborhoods like ours don't have to be victimized again and again by having to live here. I can't tell you how many of my neighbors want to sell their houses, move out of their apartments, and leave the state. We need to stop it now before it's too late.
Last question, what's the scope of this business here? How many, potential...
We've identified about 10 women that are working out of this location. There's an older woman that seems to be managing them, right here. The landlord, as Curtis stated, is an absentee landlord who claims that he doesn't know anything of what's happening. So we need the city to go after him with an investigation to get him out and to find him heavily. So we have to go after the bad landlords, protect these women, and bring in the feds to bring federal charges over the organized crime. This is an organized crime. This is not Johnny C. pimping out 2 or 3 girls on 42nd Street. This is a whole other criminal enterprise. And I think, quite frankly, our society has been slow to meet that challenge. That's the challenge.